Welcome back, Body Killers. Today we have Springbank Cask Strength 12. As always, we'll have a little bit of a chinwag at the start, then we'll have the review, and then we'll have the 2-minute review at the end. So if you just want to get straight to the review, that will be chaptered up. You can just skip over. With me, as always, we have the often imitated, never duplicated. It's the real Bottle Killer, ladies and gentlemen. How the hell are you?
Doing good. It's good to be back. Bottle Kill HQ.
It seems like a while since we've been in Bottle Kill HQ. You've been in South Africa, so
That's
you've been
right, yeah.
doing your thing.
Yep, collecting South African whiskey for a future episode. So we'll bring the audience back for that one. But today is all about Springbank 12-year-old Cask Strength.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just first things first, when it comes to Springbank 12, it's always one of the more difficult Springbanks to procure.
I think all Springbank is difficult to procure. But certainly this one, yeah, it's definitely one of the more sought after, isn't it?
Yeah, and so it was actually me that got this on your behalf the other day from Termus in Liverpool. Yeah. And it as usual, the same old comedy. Everyone seems they seem very tense when it comes to Springbank. People like they just feel tense.
Well, it's funny. Like I probably got onto Springbank about 4 or 5 years ago, and then it was quite difficult to get hold of a bottle, but you could still get it online. Do you know what I mean? And I think like things have come so far in such a short space of time. Like it's like Anchorman, like, whoa, that escalated quickly. It's like you just can't get it anymore. Everyone's onto it. Everyone's aware of it. You've got a lot of flippers. So this was, a friend of mine through social media, Giles Murray. Thank you very much. Let me know that this was coming out, and Michael picked it up. So I'm really excited. Like it's a long time since I've had Springbank 12-year-old Cask Strength, and it is one of my favorite Springbank releases. Yeah,
so I think it was the last bottle in the shop, so we were quite lucky to go in just at the right time.
Did they ask in the back?
I did. Well, it's like Little Britain, like Margaret. I said just so I can let people know if they do have more in stock. I said, do you have any more in the back? And I just heard a voice from the back. Tell him it's the only one. You get it, then fuck off. But the most important part is the juice in the bottle, right? It's the whiskey in the bottle. So if you can get that out of the way, then actually get to the fun part of whiskey, which is actually drinking Springbank. Just out of interest, when you say it's really become popular in the last 5 years, especially, and hard and therefore harder to get, what was it that lit the torch paper that made it?
I think it already had a cult following. So Springbank is really one for the whiskey purists. The reason for that is it's been around for a long time, and they do everything on site. So it's very much like the whole sort of grain to glass. They control all of the production, which means they control all of the quality, and they've got a pretty limited outturn. So they do about 200,000 litres a year, which when you think of like some of the behemoths like your Macallans and Glenfiddich turning out millions of litres per year, it's very small, very tightly controlled, but they manage the quality all in-house, even to the bottling, to the labelling. And I just think like with social media, so many people are now aware of it, and then obviously another good thing about Springbank is this, slight markup in Timaeus, I think it was 80. Retail price for this is 70. But what you will get is people will buy them, flip them, and all of a sudden, within a day, the prices have doubled, they've tripled, and people are still prepared to pay it. So I think it's that scarcity model, right? Isn't it? Like fear of missing out, and scarcity makes it more appealing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually met somebody a couple of months ago that actually had a Springbank tattoo. And so that shows like.
Was it Pavel?
It was, and so it's really interesting because you don't see people with like, I don't know, a Greg's tattoo. Well, maybe you do. Maybe someone out there.
I'm sure someone in Britain has got a Greg's tattoo.
If anyone has a Greg's tattoo, then comment below. If you know somebody with a Greg's tattoo, I don't think people are.
Yeah, definitely.
People wear Greg's clothing though, don't they? Primark did a range, so
I'd love to see it.
Maybe Greg's does have a bit of a cult following actually in the UK.
Yeah.
So let's get to the Springers. Let's get to the Cask Strength. So this is 57% What is it? 57.1?
Close. This one's 55.9%.
55.9. Okay.
So this is the 2025 release. We are June now, so this is the June 2025 release, and the makeup of this one is 60% bourbon, 35% sherry, 5% rum casks. So, actually, what we're going to be doing is this is a bit of a sort of two-step episode. So we're going to have a part 2. we've been very lucky enough to also get our hands on a couple of samples. So we're going to do a drink through, and we're going to compare previous year's samples. So we're going to look at the 23, 24, and 25. Do make sure that you're subscribed. Come back, check that out. You will not want to miss it. But yeah, I think let's crack on with the 12-year-old 2025.
You know, I've never actually had the 12-year-old cask strength. It was out of stock when we went to Springbank last year.
Yeah.
They didn't have it in the bar. And I did actually buy a bottle last year, but, you know, I didn't open it. Yeah.
So you've got the 2020 one of the 2024 releases.
Yeah,
I think sometimes they do like 2 a year. Maybe.
Yeah, apparently it's May, June-ish, and November.
Yeah, no, I didn't manage to get one last year. Missed out. As I say, I think it must be at least 3 or 4 years since I've had one of these, and we've been to the distillery like a couple of times, haven't we? So
yeah, actually, in the last year, just on the shelf, I've found a couple of Springbank 10s. I got a Springbank 15. That's quite a hard one to get.
yeah,
You rarely see that in the wild now. And then obviously the cask strength as well. It's quite handy to have thermos right around the corner. You can just pop in. You know, if you hear about there's a release date.
definitely. So this, like we said, there's a bit of a cask marriage in this with the 60% bourbon. You've got your 35% sherry. There's a little bit of rum in there. Straight away, nose in the glass. I get that bourbon. Springbank. So Springbank have got like 3, I suppose, brands you would call it, like that they do. You've got your Springbank, your Hazelburn, and your Longrow. Hazelburn's unpeated, Longrow's heavily peated. Springbank sits somewhere in the middle. So there's a slight peatiness to this, but straight away I get that caramelly vanillas from the bourbon casks jumping out of the glass with a real nice dusty undertone of like peat smoke, bonfire smoke, caramel peat smoke, bourbon. Yeah. Straight away, that's first impressions. I love it. Like I just love it.
I'm trying not to say the R word today since I overused it in the T-Link episode.
It's so rich, just so rich.
But it really does have some. It has a lot of structure to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's always one of the things that people talk about with Springbank is Campbelltown funk. You know, again, I think it goes back to the production. And, you know, it's very coastal, Campbelltown. You get a lot of the salty sea air kind of coming in. And it's like a note that you can't quite place on it, but what people love. And I think that's something that, you know, really makes Springbank popular, the uniqueness of it.
Well, it's just you know, one thing I didn't open the cask strength that I previously had. I haven't opened the 15 yet, but I do always have a 10-year-old open. And it's just such an enjoyable dram. It's just such a winner to have. If you ever just wanted a really good single malt, you can't go far wrong with Springbank 10.
This is, in a lot of ways, actually, albeit it's definitely souped up, I do draw some similarities with the 10-year-old here, with this one. But again, maybe it is just because I haven't drank Springbank for a while. But there's a lot of, like, I got one of these years and years ago, and I think it was the first 12-year-old cask strength that I got, and it was like, it felt really peaty. Now, my palate was probably not as acquainted with peat smoke back then, but it was just like engine oil, like diesel. I think it's like that kind of, you know, like an oily rag in like a mechanics. You take your car in and it's got like oil and stuff. Like, I think there's a lot of oiliness to it. Like, texture's like nice and oily.
It's really interesting because it's very spicy on the tongue.
Oh yeah.
But it's very like, it's got that smoothness as well to it. You know, where it seeps into your tongue. It's like it coats your tongue as well as being spicy. It's kind of a weird sort of juxtaposition of the two, because usually you get one or the other.
Definitely you get the spice in the finish, which is long, chewy.
Really chewy, yeah.
Like, yeah, we do. We talk about that kind of like viscosity, that chewiness. Like, this is a thick, chewy, viscous, and just a lovely like long finish. Still feeling that now.
It's almost got the same texture as same makeup as like a cough syrup. You know, that thickness of it, and it's got that sort of that slight methanol taste that I'm getting.
Yeah, I do. Like, I always forget to put water in it because I just get too excited, especially with like cask strength releases. But I think, you know, I've got to grips a fair bit with this one. And it feels like it's a good release this year's as well. What about that rum? Because we've been quite enjoying the rum casks lately, haven't we? I mean, it's only 5% rum. Are you getting anything from that? Any kind of like sweetness?
No.
None at all.
I was actually going to ask you how much was the rum because
I'm not. It's pretty small, as I say. So the rum is 5%. I'm wondering, I do get some tropical notes to it though.
Bit of grilled pineapple.
Yeah, a little bit on the nose. Mm-hmm. So I'd say, yeah. Well, I mean, I can come back to that in the 2-minute review, but I get like a nice. Imagine like a slice of pineapple laid on a barbecue, drizzled with some like Lyle syrup or honey, and then just like left to smoke, and then you turn it over and it's just got like coming off it. That's the nose. Grilled pineapple and honey on a barbecue.
Oh, I much prefer it with a little drop of water in, actually.
Yeah.
That's really been that really is nice.
I kind of went for it and then I didn't, so I'm gonna take your steer and just put a couple of drops in.
It really brings alive the nose as well, even more so.
You just got those like the legs as well. Very oily. Oh look, I've actually got the washback bar.
How have you managed to get that?
I wonder how this came to be in my possession.
How much? How?
And that wasn't planned. That was just pure coincidence. Maybe this was a little bit planned.
I went. Well, that was just Canadian Jay just nicked it. He loves nicking stuff.
Yeah, we've got a Canadian friend. He's got kleptomania, so he stole the menu. But we'll bring it back next time. We're back at Springbank.
I wonder how many like it's like pubs. Like some people just think it's their right to, like, if they have a Madry, just that they get the glass for free with it and walk away with it. I've never actually took a glass from a pub or a thing. The only one I did was I got permission. We took one from Deanston once, but we got permission.
Yeah,
it sure felt better.
Yeah, that water. I mean, what's great is like it really holds up. I mean, I only put a few drops in just to open it up a little bit, but sometimes I think like adding water, some whiskies don't need it and it can take away, whereas like others it enhances it. Like if we think like Corrie Vrecken, that's good with a few drops of water. I think this, because it's so what's the word, like it's got so much integrity and robustness to it, I think the water sort of definitely helps bring out some more of the sweet flavors. Just trying to sort of place the sherry as well. So again, I'm assuming it doesn't say, but I'm assuming Oloroso because it does have a dryness to it.
Yeah, I can now you pointed it out, I can have the dryness.
So I get a bit of dryness. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that the sherry is Oloroso, providing a bit of dryness, that kind of spice as well. Spicy and dryness.
So we're gonna be doing a couple of reviews today, and they're all cask strength reviews. I actually don't know if I actually prefer if it's just a little bit too strong for me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's a balance between adding water to adjust it for your palate, but then there's you're totally like ruining the integrity of having a cask strength whiskey in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. But it's probably just finding it a little bit too spicy for me.
I like the spiciness. I like that in the finish.
Like I think I would, and it's calmed down a lot with the water.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if it's a little too watery now. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't know what the sweet spot is. I guess you discover as you drink it, and you adjust to what you want.
I think it holds up well. Like I even, obviously I probably drank about half of it. Added a few drops of water and then drank a bit more, and then the last bit I added a few more drops of water, and I'm still getting the spiciness. I think it still comes through. So I think it can hold water, this one, but I definitely feel it benefits from it just to open it up a little bit. And 55.9%, I mean, I suppose it's quite high, but some cask strengths, you know, you're talking like 57, 58, 59. So
it's low 60s sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I've had Abelard Abuna like 63. Crazy.
Yeah,
just like
I got a Roy Brackler that's similar.
tongues on fire.
But one thing you got to say about this, and this shows to what a great quality whiskey it is. Like even a minute later, I still feel like my mouth is coated.
Yeah,
You know, it's still there.
definitely.
It's got a real thickness to it, you know, and so it really is something. I still don't really understand how some whiskeys just seem to have this presence, and they have this viscosity, and then some just appear so thin, like a Johnny Walker Blue Label. It's so thin in your mouth.
Yeah,
Isn't it? And that is so thick.
yeah. Yeah, well, I suppose, like, obviously it's, you know, it's blended and it's watered down, so there's a lot of different factors to take into consideration. But this is, like you say, this is pure integrity from like start to finish. Like, everything is done on site. You go to the distillery, like the barley's all on the floor, so they got the floor malted barley, which, you know, even other distilleries are starting to bring back, you know, because they've seen the success that it's raised for Springbank. And,
Yeah.
you know, they're doing pretty much like everything end to end, right up to the bottling. So it's no surprise that, like, you know, you can't really mention like Johnny Walker and Springbank in the same sentence. I think they're different whiskies for different needs.
Yeah, well, I think the people that used to be, you know, thinking that Johnny Walker Blue Label was like the special whiskey and the one they aspired to have,
Yeah,
maybe are now looking at a Springbank 25, a Springbank 21-year-old as the one they as inspired to have. I think that's sort of the consciousness, and maybe that's the internet, maybe that's, you know, YouTube channels like this.
yeah,
That people are getting smarter. You know, people are getting way more informed than they ever were about whiskey, and therefore, you know, your likes of Springbank, like people know they're there and why they're there.
yeah.
It's not just marketing budget.
No, and it depends, like, if it's quality that you want, or is it just like, you know, status. You want to be able to like show off that you've got a blue label. I know which one I'd go for. Springbank all day.
I wonder how much a 25 is.
Springbank.
Yeah. So in here it's £40 a dram.
Okay. Off the top of my head, 25-year-old, I can't remember. Maybe in the set 7, could be less. Have to check. Fact check.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, well, let's wrap this up. I think we're both out.
Yeah.
It almost ended too soon, that glass.
Well, we've got more. We've got a whole another dram to enjoy. So
are we doing that now, or are we doing that in a separate episode?
no, we'll do it. Yeah, separate episode. So we'll
Okay.
wrap this one up, and then we'll do like a part 2. So we'll bring out the 23, 24, 25, have a little compare contrast, talk a little bit more about Springbank. So yeah.
Okay, well, we'll put them quite close together then on the episode, and join us for the compare and contrast. And well, I'd say for me, I think Springbank is always going to be a buy, and it's just that if you see it on the shelf, just grab it. And I think in terms of a really high quality whiskey, and it's pretty challenging as well for the palate. I found it for myself in terms of the spice. So it's one you owe yourself to experience. If you see it on the shelf, it's a buy from me.
100%. I think if you are lucky enough, it's most likely going to be in the wild in a whiskey shop, or try and build a relationship with your local whiskey store so that you've got some insights into when it's coming out, because these things literally sell out in hours, certainly within 24 hours. So you've got to have your finger on the trigger. But yeah, do not miss out. If you see one, buy it. It's incredible. It's complex. It's rich. It's got so much integrity. You will not be disappointed. Springbank 12-year-old cask strength for me, absolute buy. And with that, I'll take them out. So thank you for joining us. As I say, do come back for the Springbank 12-year-old drink through, which we'll put up next. But for today, I hope you've had a good time. I've had a good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV. Okay, so as we always do on Bottle Kill TV, we've got a short 2-minute review of the Springbank 12-year-old cask strength 2025 release. Michael, why don't you kick us off with this one with your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is the first time I've actually tried Springbank 12 cask strength, and really is a difference having it at cask strength as well. It's a much more challenging version of Springbank, a much more complex and a lot more of a richer experience. Very spicy.
Yeah, there's a lot of spice to it.
So yeah, it's gonna challenge your senses, and but definitely one worth checking out.
Yep, so what you've got here is a very complex, high-integrity malt that's bottled at 55.9%. It's got 60% bourbon casks, 35% sherry casks, and 5% rum. And what that means is you get a lovely kind of caramel vanilla start as you nose the glass. Then you do get some tropical fruits coming through, so I described it as like a grilled pineapple drizzled in honey, slapped on top of a barbecue grill, and left to smoke and then flipped over just so you get that nice sizzling kind of char grilled pineapple flavors. As you get into the palate, you've got all of the things that you would expect from an integrity malt. It's oily, it's got that coastal brine being from Campbelltown. As you kind of get into the mid palate, again, you've got more of the sherry notes coming through, so you do get those spices that comes through into the finish as well. Overall, like, it's a rich, complex, oily, beautiful, just well put together dram. Few drops of water will bring out more of the sweeter flavors. So yeah, if you can find a bottle, mess around with it, experiment with it, because you'll get a lot of mileage and notes out of this one.
Alrighty, well, yeah, I'd say go buy if you can. As always with Springbank, that's the message.
Absolutely, yeah. If you can find it, buy it.
Why are we so awkward on this outro?
That'll do.